Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. The Myles-Garrett situation has so dominated the news here and in Berea that we've actually forgotten there's a winnable football game to be played on Sunday at home against the Miami Dolphins. Then the following week, our new and old rival, the Pittsburgh-Steelers. How many times between now and then do you think we're going to see that infamous play on TV? You hear players talk about being focused. If the Browns don't get themselves focused, the season is going to end about a month before we expected. The D-man, Dennis-Manoloff, is here. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Wednesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine, into its 34th consecutive season and seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Also seen exclusively on cleveland.com is the D-man, Dennis-Manoloff. Hello, D-man.
Les, I want to start by saying I love your beard. I love that beard.
It's getting rave reviews.
Is that a playoff beard? You're not going to shave until the Browns
November.
Get in?
Yeah. Well, it'll be down to here by that time.
Exactly. Looks good, though. Looks good on you, man.
Thank you. All right, tell me what your thoughts are. We haven't spoken since the Myles-Garrett situation, and today the word comes down that they'll probably have a decision in the next day or two. Do you think they rushed to judgment too quickly on that and set the stage for what may be a situation that they don't want to be in?
Not necessarily. I think it's easier for the NFL to suspend long and walk it back upon appeal. I think it was extremely unfortunate. You had to send a message to the entire league that helmet swinging or helmet throwing of any kind is unacceptable and will be punished very, very steeply. That said, and granted, Myles-Garrett was wrong. He said it. Everybody said it. There's no doubt Myles-Garrett was wrong in what he did. But I felt like the indefinite part was too harsh in that you were basically saying he had to apply for reinstatement in the offseason. Yeah, and that lumps him in with domestic abusers.
Right.
And I'm saying there's no way Myles-Garrett should be in that basket.
No, but if he connects on that last swing, you may be talking about legal stuff, and you may be talking about something much worse than an injury.
That's true, Les. I know you're going to think I'm ridiculous for making this statement, but I'd like to think that Garrett knew that he was swinging with the open-ended part of the helmet. In other words, if he knew he had the crown facing Rudolph, he would not have swung it. You could say that I'm full of it, but I mean, if he hits him with the crown and knocks him out, we're having a different discussion. But the fact is, thank God, Mason-Rudolph emerged unscathed.
Well, in things like this, I know it's apples and oranges because it's a different sport. But when Robin Ventura went after Nolan Ryan,
yes,
and he got about one or two steps out there, you could see the look on his face that, I'm in a position where I have to charge Nolan Ryan here. And he knew he was wrong, and he tried to make it as easy as possible. He kind of buckled his legs under so there was going to be no contact and all. What you're saying, and I think I would agree to, is that he knew he was so wrong, and not that he missed on purpose by flinging that helmet, but if he had flung the helmet into the end zone or sidelines, we're not having a discussion here today.
Right, and this is the other thing, too. I'm really, really glad, obviously, that Mason-Rudolph was not seriously injured. And he wasn't even concussed. He's good to go. In fact, we saw today on Twitter, he had a prepared statement where he apologized for his actions. Here we are 6 days later.
Yeah.
And he's, they're getting ready for the Bengals, and he's talking still about Thursday night, finally coming to the realization that he was an antagonist to a degree. But my point is this about Myles, and this is where I thought there was severe overreaction. In the immediate aftermath, he's a goon. He might even need to be banned from the league. All this nonsense about how terrible a player Myles-Garrett is or terrible a human being he is for what he did. My point is, throughout history in the NFL, you've had many, many, many instances where cheap shots were administered by, I'm thinking DBs mostly, but also linebackers to QBs, where cheap shots were up above the neck, no injuries occurred, and we forgot about them.
No harm, no foul.
Exactly. That's how I hope that it's viewed with Myles. In other words, I disagree with those who claim that this is going to follow Myles Garrett around for the rest of his life or the rest of his career.
How about Turkey Jones?
Okay, but I mean, I just don't think that you have to play the clip with Myles. I mean, you're right. It did with Jones, and it does with some guys who hit people and they don't get hurt. But because Rudolph didn't get hurt, I don't think we have to brand Garrett with a scarlet letter for the rest of his career.
This is the same guy that walked away from some moron fan punching him in the face, and all he did was go get a license number. I mean, it's the same guy. Les,
that's part of, I would assume, his appeal, which was taking place earlier today, where he says, look, his representatives say, I got sucker punched on the street. Did I go out in a fit of rage and run this guy down? No, I took his license plate number and reported him to the police. Right. Myles Garrett is not a goon. He's not a freak of some horrible human being. No, he snapped. Yeah, he did. And it was a terrible thing that he did. But he shouldn't be branded with it for the rest of his career.
Since we all think the sports world revolves around Cleveland, can you think of any incident that has united, in a negative way, that has united the fan base here to say our Cleveland player was wrong? And I think it's 99% from at least the calls I get, the emails and conversations on the street. Can you think of any egregious moment that didn't get this kind of, I don't want to say support, but didn't get this kind of response? Because almost everybody said he shouldn't have done it. There's nothing that verifies that he was okay in doing it.
Right, and the tape doesn't lie. I mean, you can't deny that he swung a helmet and conked a helmetless guy in the head.
Why the helmetless guy came in for more is another question.
Exactly, and if you crack on Rudolph too much, you're accused of defending Myles. I'm not defending Myles. I'm simply saying that if Rudolph doesn't grab his helmet and try to pull it off to begin with, chances are this doesn't happen. And then after Garrett does the egregious thing of pulling his helmet off his head, why does Rudolph have to charge back in like a little chihuahua? Leave him alone. At that point,
the guy's enraged.
Rudolph's teammate is holding him back. You don't need to go back in there. Hey, Rudolph, you're helmetless. What are you going to get there? Well, what are you going to accomplish there?
And there's also to be determined whether or not there was a kick involved by Rudolph toward Garrett.
The groin kick. And listen, when you talk about the suspensions, the indefinite one, I think if Myles' appeal goes well and if he does what he should do, I think it gets knocked back to 6 games, I think that's the end of it. There will be no reapplying for or applying for reinstatement in the NFL. Pouncey, 3 games. I don't know what the status of his is.
Well, if they're going to knock something off Garrett, they're going to knock something off Pouncey.
I thought 3 was okay, but I could see that getting knocked to 2. Yeah. Ogunjobi's will stand, I'm almost positive, at 1. I wish they could ex post facto give Rudolph a game because he pretty much admitted it today that he deserved one. But now that you didn't give it to him, you can't go give him one.
I got a how come quickie.
Yes, sir.
How come if they announce that Rudolph gets a 1-game suspension, most Pittsburgh fans will say that's not enough?
Yeah, I mean, you did have the jokes like the Browns should be fortunate to face Rudolph a week from Sunday.
Good they kept him in.
Because Rudolph has been so bad.
Yeah, 216-575-0403. Although I don't know why I'm giving that out today. We're actually doing the show from 3 to 4 on Wednesday. But if you're watching, tell your friends. 3 to 4. It's the Businessman's Doubleheader Special. Myles Garrett had his appeal today, and the word is he gets in 1 or 2 days. They'll have some kind of an announcement.
Right, and I would hope that I expect that Myles Garrett would present himself as contrite, that he wouldn't try to offload the blame on Rudolph or anything else. He would just say, hey, I made a big mistake, but this is not who I am. I'm not as I said, I keep using the word goon. I heard that mentioned several times. To me, he should not be lumped in with the worst of the worst in the NFL.
Dennis-Manoloff is with us. Browns banged up on defense. You, of course, know the Garrett situation and then Ogunjobi. So here you have it for this Sunday. The key players will be missing. Garrett suspended for, at this point, 6 games. And Ogunjobi suspended for a game. Morgan Burnett out with an Achilles injury. Eric Murray is doubtful with a knee problem. And Olivier Vernon, who started to play pretty well here the last couple of games, he too has a knee injury. He is listed as questionable. Defensive players are going to need bigger roles this week and the next couple of weeks. Chad Thomas, defensive end, third-round pick by the Browns in 2018, started the last 2 games for Olivier Vernon. 13 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for losses, and 1 fumble recovery this season. Also checking in, Devereaux Lawrence is going to need to step up. 10 games.
The king of the preseason. Remember how dominant he was in the preseason.
Looked great. 7 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 interception, and a fumble recovery. Then you got Justin Burris, and Burris with 13 tackles, 2 passes defended, 1 interception, or 2 interceptions, 1 fumble forced, and 1 sack. Anybody of those 3, anybody key as far as your listings are concerned?
Well, to me, it's either Devereaux Lawrence or Chad Thomas needs to really have a big game. Although the good news for the Browns is they face the Dolphins, who are bad, not as atrociously bad as we might have thought. They had actually won 2 in a row before losing this past weekend. But the Dolphins are a team where you can absorb defensive losses, especially when you have healthy Beckham, Landry, Mayfield, Chubb, Hunt, and maybe Njoku. That should be enough to win you the game by themselves, that group.
All right, more important than any of that,
yes.
Give me some highlights of your pickings for the Plain Dealer and, of course, Dave Bacon's show, Weekend Winners. What do you have?
Well, Dave and I
want to run a little bit?
Dave and I have been picking 4 games apiece for the past few weeks.
Same games?
No. We picked the same game on the Browns, and then we have, it depends on the next 3. Sometimes we have duplicates, sometimes we don't. But last week we weren't able to do the picks, and I went 3-1. I made sure Brian pulled the sheet out from last week. I said, how did I do? And we looked at it, I went 3-1. So I unofficially went 3-1 last week. But Dave's not going to care. He's going to be like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It seems to be more important to you than it is to him, but that's okay.
I mean, listen, it is hard. It is very, very hard to do, whether you're doing 4 or whether you're doing all of them like I am for the PD and cleveland.com.
My wife and I, every Sunday morning, get the paper out, and we pick against the spreads, and we rotate. She'll take the Browns game, which 100% of the time she takes the Browns. Then I go, then she goes. We rotate throughout the 14, 16 games, whatever it is. And every year, and we bet $1 a game, and every year it's within $10 for all the games. So you don't have to know anything. You just...
Thanks, Les. I thought you were going to tell me you got the paper out, you looked at my picks, and you voted exactly the opposite,
no.
Many people have said to me.
I'm just saying how you put a lot of effort into it, and you realize that you could just go like this.
Oh, Les. I mean, I've put way too much effort into losses, but what are you going to do?
There you go. There are over 238,000 winners from the Ohio Scratch-Offs every day. That's unbelievable. With that amount of winning, stop by your local retailer, try your luck on any of the popular holiday-themed scratch-offs from the Ohio Lottery. Facebook.com is where you can go. Facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine. New content posted each and every day. I'm down $7 right now at this point, past the halfway mark. New content posted each and every day on Facebook. Back in a moment with the D-Man, Dennis Manoloff. Coming up, hopefully the return of David Njoku. That and more. More Sports and Les Levine continues in a moment, exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then, watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
This segment of More Sports and Les-Levine brought to you by Northeast Factory Direct.
Booze! I'm sorry, Les.
Carlos Boozer.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Gregarious, 1947. Mark Gastineau took part in one of the more famous Cleveland Browns games. We'll talk about that in a moment. J.D. Drew. Carlos Boozer, seen on the left. Greg Holland and Cody Allen, all born on the 20th of November. The Gastineau play, I saw that recently. I watched the second half of that double overtime win, the Browns over the Jets. And that was such a stupid play by Gastineau. Bernie Kosar was pretty much down already, 15 yards in the back, 10, 15 yards in the backfield, and he gets a roughing the passer call, which was unbelievable. Browns come back from 2 touchdowns down, and maybe one of the most memorable games in modern Cleveland Browns history.
Yeah, and I'll always remember where I was, Les. I was on the road as a college reporter for the Daily Northwestern. We were going to cover a game, a Big Ten game, and we were stopping. I made the guys stop. There were like 5 of us in the car. We stopped every chance we could to pop in and find a TV and
Don't
get
you think
the
about
update.
that when you go to your phones, whatever phones you use, how easy it is to find scores now as opposed to back in the day you had to improvise?
When I started college, it was a sports phone, sports ticker.
Right.
And we would just, call in and listen to what the Indians, what they were doing in the second inning. I mean, it's crazy.
All right, let's go to Bill, who's in North Olmsted. Bill, good evening. How are you?
Well, sometimes you're getting harder and harder to track down, first on cleveland.com and now changing times. But Les...
Well, it's not like we've done it once. Bill?
I'm just kidding with you.
Okay.
You've taken, today's November 20th, and I've called in on November 20th for the last at least 20 years. You've taken Stan the Man and Ken Griffey Jr. off your birthday list.
Well, we have to take that up with our birthday people. How could we leave off Ken Griffey Jr.? From Donora, PA, same place, sharing the birthday with Stan Musial, also from Donora? Well, we got to talk to those people.
Incredible.
Yeah. What are the odds of D-Man? The odds of that? Hold on, Bill.
A statistic that I find to be kind of incredible. Stan has 3,630 hits.
Hey, hold
Same
on.
number on the
Hold on 1 second.
Yep.
We're informed that it's the 21st, Bill.
No.
Today's the 20th.
It is. I'm a day early and
You can't call in and rip me for leaving it out, and you're the one who's wrong. This is quit.
There are times when you still think Will Chamberlain was 28 for 33 from the foul line and it was under point night, and I keep telling you it was 28 for 32.
Okay, but this is quid pro. I can't even say quid pro quo. All right.
Quid pro quo.
You're excused.
Well, Bill, I'm scooping you. The amazing stat with Musial, same number of hits on the road as he did at home. That's just remarkable.
And did he have over 3,000 hits?
Was it 18? It was 18 something and 18 something, right?
18-15 and 18-15, 36-30.
Wow.
And what I was going to tell you, in case I don't get in tomorrow night, over 900 of them were doubles and triples, and in roughly over 13,000 plate appearances, he struck out. Well, he averaged 37 strikeouts a year for over 600 plate appearances per year.
Well, Bill, let me just tell you something. This is when I talk about, or people talk about the DH and all that stuff, and whether there should be a DH, whether there should be interleague play. I point to the fact that I never got to see Stan Musial play as a young fan. And think of all the National Leaguers I didn't get to see. I obviously saw all the American Leaguers, but I missed out on half of the good ball players.
Oh, Clemente, Mays, Luke Snyder, some of their great pitchers. Frank Robinson when he was in the National League. Hank Aaron.
Yeah, McCovey.
Ernie Banks. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
McCovey, yeah. But hey, switching to something Dennis just said, and he made a couple valid points, but there was one other thing that I don't think has been brought up in the Myles-Garrett situation. You know, it strikes me, especially in athletics, everybody has a breaking point. And it could be a punch to the gut. It could be anything. And I wonder if anybody ever realized he might have a breaking point of somebody trying to hit him in the face or kicking him in the groin. I wonder if, maybe he would have reacted differently if he got a punch in the shoulder.
I don't know. I don't want to give credence to what he did, because what he did was awful. Now, are there reasons for it? Yeah, there's reasons for it, but that doesn't make it right.
Well, the one thing I think bothered all of us, that right afterwards you get on ESPN and I forget the guy's name now, Woolley or something like that. I've never seen such a thing. My goodness. How many times have we seen guys swinging helmets or stomping on throats? Or
not very often, Bill. Bill, not very often.
This is not the worst that ever happened. And I agree with Dennis's comment about how the media has perpetuated this thing. It's just
No, they didn't. That punishment came down quickly and swiftly. And fast,
but I mean,
in addition to that.
Talking about it.
Well, I think what Bill's saying is that in the national media, especially, casting such an aspersion on Garrett that you would think that he was a domestic abuser.
Yeah, right.
And to me, that type of criminal, which I thought was way over the top.
It may have been worse than what Ray Rice got publicly.
You can make that case because it happened during the season on the field. But, I am not excusing what Myles did. I'm simply saying that he's not the horrible guy he was portrayed to be right in the immediate aftermath.
All right, Bill, anything else before we move on?
Well, just one quickie dennis-manoloff story. I bumped into Dennis at Cooperstown. My grandson and I went there for the Jim Thome induction.
Bill was wearing his Cardinals uniform.
Yeah, he sees me in a Cardinals shirt, and he goes,
"Why were you wearing a Cardinals shirt?"
And then I turned my back, and he goes, "Oh, I understand." And he saw the Musial on the
That was Stan the Man. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you're excused. Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
Bill's son played in the majors.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
all right, Bill, thanks for the
Bill
call.
is the man. Have I ever told you my Musial story?
Do it.
All right, so I'm at in the 90s. I flew to St. Louis to do a feature on Larry Walker as part of our All-Star coverage, 97.
Right.
And they happened to be doing a rededication of the St. Louis Baseball Hall of Fame, which at that time was housed in the National Bowling Hall of Fame,
right door.
Across the street from Busch. And I was a big bowling fan, so I go in there.
Excuse me. Self-serving note here. My uncle is in the Bowling Hall of Fame.
Awesome.
Continue on.
Yeah, and so I sought out, when I got there early enough, I sought out the Bowling Hall of Fame. I'm in there, and all of a sudden I'm talking to a few people, and they say, yeah, we got a special event coming soon, like this afternoon. I said, what? Oh, we're rededicating the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Now, it's since moved out of there. But anyway, I go, oh, okay, who's going to be here? Bob Gibson, Shane Dienst, Brock, and Musial.
That's the best they could do?
Exactly. I flip my lid. I've got nothing, right? I have nothing with me. I'm like, wait, you're telling me those four guys are going to be here in less than an hour? Yes, that's what I'm telling you. So I scramble to find baseballs. I go across the street. Nothing's open. I finally find a place, but all they're selling is the souvenir balls with the wax covering, not the official ball. I get 5 of those. I come back in. Sure enough, those 4, Red Shane Dienst, Lou Brock, Stan Musial, and Bob Gibson are standing in front of me. And by the way, there's only about 20 of us in this room. I just cannot believe my eyes. So I'm giving each one a ball. I get one signed by all 4 guys. And I get another one signed by all 4 guys. The one that was really well done, a lady comes up to me. She goes, "Excuse me, who are these guys?" I go, "Oh, these are arguably the four greatest Cardinals of all time." She goes, "Is there any chance you could give me one of these balls? My husband is a big fan of the Cardinals." I give her one of the one that has all four of them. I've got the other one, but unfortunately, because of the covering of the ball, it faded.
Yeah.
But you can see all four. I mean, absolutely just mind-blowing that these four guys were in front of me.
Stan is gone. Shanians is gone.
Shanians is dead. Gibson's here. Musial is gone, and Brock is here. So two out of the four have passed. But it was just mind-blowing that it happened. I was so lucky.
When we come back, we'll find out about David Njoku. Could he return as early as this Sunday? We'll check out that and more. Dennis-Manoloff with us. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com. Northeast Factory Direct with 4 great locations. Of course, the website's where you got to go first, northeastfactorydirect.com or West 140th Street and the old B&B Appliance in Euclid and Freeway Drive, that's in Macedonia. What you're going to find, well, you won't find any gimmicks, no deceiving blowout sales, no typical retail nonsense, just 3 big bare-bone warehouses paying about 10% of the cost of rent from some of the big box stores. Bottom line is nobody's going to go touch their everyday savings or quality at northeastfactorydirect.com. Northfield Park with live and simulcast racing. You got live racing every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, post time 6 p.m., 6:40 for the weekends on Saturday and Sunday. You got a chance on Sunday to win $500 in cash at Northfield Park, where it's free admission, free parking every day. We'll come back. We'll take a look at the Miami Dolphins. More Sports and Les-Levine continues in a moment, exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
All right, D-Man, what do you got? Real quick.
No, I had a buddy of mine text in and say, a nice story about Musial and the gang.
Just missed by a day?
But no, they said, Larry Walker didn't play for the Cardinals. How can you be doing a feature on him? He was playing for the Rockies.
Right.
And he came to St. Louis to play the Cardinals, and that's why. That's why I was doing Walker in St. Louis.
You know, sports talk was so much easier to do when they couldn't check on us.
Well, I knew I was right, but I'm glad. We got people watching from all corners of the earth.
No question about that. All right, I mentioned David Njoku. Could he return as early as Sunday? Let's take a look. 4 receptions, 27 yards, 1 TD in 2 games this season, 92 catches in his career. Team has 21 days to activate him, otherwise he'll be on the IR for the rest of the season. How important is he?
He's important against the Steelers a week from Sunday.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that happen.
The interesting thing is when something like this happens, we all assume they're going to come back at 100%, and that's not necessarily the case.
Well, we also assume that they're going to come back and know the plays,
yeah,
and be grateful. And we assume Njoku is, we know he's different than Callaway, for example.
Yes.
So I can't wait to see Njoku back. He'll be a nice piece, nice addition. His athleticism down the seam, but as of now, the quintet of Beckham, Landry, Mayfield, Chubb, and Hunt should be good enough against the Dolphins. By the way, one of the unfortunate parts about the Myles Garrett incident overshadowed another quality game from Baker Mayfield.
Oh, Baker's had 3 out of the last 4 been good games.
I mean, he played well, and nobody was talking about it.
Well, you talked about Nick-Chubb. He'll be a key player, I would assume, because they got to run that football. Miami not very good against the run. Let's see what Nick-Chubb has done. 11. Well, look at that. 1,011 yards rushing, 3rd in the NFL. 101 yards on the average per game, 2nd in the NFL, and he's broken 100 yards in rushing 4 of his last 7 games. That's not bad in this day and age. Game of passing.
Unless I know that, with Beckham, the temptation is always there, and of course Landry is a really good player. But to me, this team is going to be best when it runs this offense through Chubb and Hunt. I truly believe that, because I think back to Biner and Mack, and I start to go, okay, if you work off of those guys, then I think you're better off.
Didn't you think of those guys as a tandem, and you thought because Hunt missed 8 games, you thought it was going to be a long time coming before they melded together? But it seems like not bad early on.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, I've been very pleased with what I've seen from Kareem Hunt and what I've not heard from Kareem Hunt. It's all about the team. It's nothing about him. It's really exciting to see what those two can do.
As much research as you do, I guarantee you haven't watched 7 Miami Dolphin games this year.
No, I've probably cobbled together about 2. Total.
Together. Well, let's take a look at what we can expect from the Miami Dolphins this Sunday at Cleveland Brown at the First Energy Stadium. Starting safeties Bobby McCain with a shoulder problem, Rashad Jones, ribs. They've been placed on IR, and they've also waived running back Mark Walton for some off-the-field indiscretions. So that's that story. Let's take a look at the overview of the Miami Dolphins. Their offensive numbers not very good, 31st in the league, scoring 13.9 points per game, 29th in yards per game with 263, 29th again with passing yards per game, 32nd with rushing per game, and turnovers. They are tied for 28th rather, with 20. Now let's take a look at the defensive numbers.
I mean, that's the key right there, Les, the defensive numbers.
Look at everything in the 30s, offensively and defensively.
But especially on their defense is extremely vulnerable, and the Browns have a healthy offense, relatively speaking. That's where the Browns should have a 20-minute advantage. Well, that's maybe too much. 15-minute advantage in time of possession.
Well, hopefully not so much, because they'll score big on some big plays. When you pick games, one of the terms you always hear is a trap game. And a trap game basically is one where you catch a team looking ahead to some other team. Cleveland may be looking ahead to Pittsburgh for the replay of that game. So is this a trap game for the Browns going up against Miami?
Absolutely not, because the Browns are in a situation where they're pretty much saying they have to win every game. When you're in a situation where you have to win every game, it doesn't matter who you're playing.
Yeah, great point. No question about that.
Trap.
All right, Tri-C, explore your interests and find a program that puts you on the path to a bright future from Tri-C. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information. We'll come back in a moment. We'll take a look at Ohio State and Penn State, a couple of top 10 teams according to the voters. More Sports and Les-levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
it takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
This date in sports history brought to you by Smiley One. Walter Payton in 1977 of the Bears rushes for a then record of 275 yards against the Minnesota Vikings. It's pretty good. Still not the best ever. Jim Brown, no question about that as far as I'm concerned. Yes, I'm a homer. I get it. I'm a homer. I also saw every game he played. I thought he was going to score a touchdown every time he touched the ball.
Brown?
Yeah.
Les, I'm probably wrong about this, but I swear I heard that Brown had one season where he never lost yards on a carry.
I think more than one.
I mean,
think about that.
I mean, if that's true,
flip to Jim Brown,
and we know
turning right
we've
end.
got some Jim Brown historians in the worldwide audience. If you know it to be a fact that Jim Brown in his season never lost yardage on a single carry.
I don't think that's.
I think that's one of the most incredible stats in the history of sports.
But I don't think that's the question. My question would be, how many seasons did it happen?
Wow. I mean,
played
that's
9 seasons.
Double the amazingness of it, because I just can't even fathom
He
that.
was a man among boys when he played.
I hope that every Browns coach makes all these players sit and watch a reel, because it's a reel back then of Jim Brown rushing and how he just destroyed people.
Could you imagine if Ernie Davis didn't get sick? You got Davis and Brown in the backfield.
I've thought about that many, many times. It's unbelievable to even contemplate.
You know, that cost, a lot of people think that cost Paul Brown his job, because Paul Brown was not in favor of making that deal, and Art Modell went around him and made the deal.
Yeah, it's just so unfortunate.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. All right, the third college football rankings of the season took place.
Yes.
And here you have it. No change in the top 4.
No shock.
No shot what?
No shock. No shock.
Shot.
Yeah. I expected LSU to stay there, and Ohio State.
I would expect Ohio State, if they win handily against Penn State and Michigan, they probably will be the top seed. But there you have it. Alabama 5. Thought they'd be lower because of the injury to Tua. Oregon, then Utah, Penn State, Oklahoma, and Minnesota, which means Minnesota and Penn State and Ohio State 3 in the top 10, or in the Big Ten.
Well, you know what, Les, I will say this. There's precedent, though, for third-string quarterbacks
Cardale Jones
becoming stars in the CFP playoffs. So I don't think Alabama is in trouble at all. I don't trust Georgia in the 4-hole. We'll see how they play with Jones at their quarterback. But, Alabama's look. The difficulty for the committee, I think, is going to be either Georgia or Alabama, or Utah, Oregon. In other words, there's going to be a day of reckoning or a moment of reckoning where they have to decide, does the Pac-12 champion deserve one of the 4 spots?
Let me just tell you this. Well, first of all, does Ohio State run the table?
I think they might stub their toe against Michigan. I do.
Ouch.
I hate to say it, but Michigan's playing really well. They're in Michigan. No, I don't think it will. No? I think they can survive a loss to Michigan. I really do.
Come back and beat
because Michigan's playing that well. Yes.
Well,
I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Believe me, I hope it doesn't happen. But if Michigan is ever going to beat Ohio State under Harbaugh, this is the year.
All right. What did you say the other one, Utah and Oregon?
Utah or Oregon. Whoever emerges from the Pac-12.
If it's Utah and Oregon,
yes,
and they're number 4, and Ohio State is number 1, what's the biggest margin of victory since the playoffs began? Because Ohio State will put up 50 more than either of those teams. They'll win that game by 50.
All right. But I'm saying that the committee's going to have to decide about whether it's not even going to come down to Ohio State to me. It's going to come down to the Alabama, Georgia, or Oregon, Utah. One team for 4 candidates, 1 spot. Because the 3 locks to me are Clemson and Ohio State and LSU.
All right, so let's take a look at Ohio State and Penn State, 2 big games in a row, followed up by Michigan. So you got Justin Fields versus Sean Clifford. You take a look at those numbers. 159 completions for Justin Fields out of 230. I think that interception number is incredible. Only 1 for the whole season.
I mean, I think his whole season's
throwing the ball
incredible.
all over the lot.
And Les, how about this?
What's better, their offense, 2 offenses, or defense to defenses?
Oh, by the way, don't tell Penn State, Chase Young's back. Young's back from his 2-game suspension.
His 2 games rest.
The double bye that the Bucks had against Maryland and Rutgers. Here's the thing. Penn State, Ohio State games, traditionally, at least in the past 10 years, have been really close, right?
Yep.
What does Vegas say about this game?
What did they say, 13, 14?
Oh, I think it's bigger than that. I think it's like 19.
No, there's never been.
I think that spread is insane. We'll have to have Brian check in the research lab. But I wanted to say I heard 19.
Wow.
You want to talk about the Vegas is like, their Buckeyes are going to walk over this one.
All right, let's take a look at the running game. J.K. Dobbins and Journey Brown. What a great name that is, Journey Brown. 183 carries for Dobbins, 86 for Brown.
I mean, Dobbins is a Heisman candidate, as is Fields.
Yeah.
And Young, you can make. I mean, if Young has 9 sacks in his last 2 regular season games,
I think it's tough to overcome.
Who knows?
I think it's tough to overcome the suspension, but you could.
What if he gets to 20 sacks though?
Yeah,
with 2 games out missed.
I hear you. Got to take that. I'm a Heisman voter. I got to take that into consideration. Chris Olave versus KJ Hamler, defensive in the receiving department. Olave. How about this? This great passing team, their leading receiver has 37. Doesn't sound like a lot.
Oh, they spread it around.
Spread it all over.
Yeah.
9 touchdowns.
I love the Buckeyes. Ryan Day is a bad man. And by bad, I mean good. Like, he is hardcore. You know, this guy, no nonsense. He doesn't strike you as one of those eat nails for breakfast guys, but I keep going back to that comment he made a couple weeks ago about Maryland. He says, our guys got tired of hearing how close the Maryland game was last year. It's like, you better believe he gets these guys whipped into a frenzy before the game starts.
Our worldwide desk has checked out the point spread for this weekend. What do you think it is?
I said 19.
You're right on the head.
Wow.
I think it's
That's
too many
insane.
points.
And you know, Franklin is going to be like, we're being disrespected here. We're being disrespected here. And yet the Buckeyes' average margin of victory is 41 or something like that. So you can see why Vegas is doing it. And I think a lot of people are going to take the bait on this. They're finally going to say, you know what? The Buckeyes cover, although they didn't cover against Rutgers.
No.
56-21, they didn't cover.
52 points. What do you want?
But I think people are going to actually take the points with Penn State in Ohio, entertainment purposes only.
Northeast. I love that.
Have to say that.
I know. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 great locations, east and west as well as south, and of course northeastfactorydirect.com. If you want nice big-ticket items to improve your home and you want to pay half what most people pay, you got to go to any of those 4 locations. Bottom line is nobody is going to touch their prices every day or their quality from Northeast Factory Direct. Sokolowski's University Inn. You know what? I'm doing a double header. I'm double dipping this week. I was there today. I'll be there again tomorrow. Had to meet some people. You know, they said, where do you want to meet around downtown? Well, if you don't want to park, forget the food. If you don't want to park, Sokolowski's University Inn. Oh, yeah, they have the best food in town. Winner of the James Beard Foundation Award, which only won by 5 in the country each and every year. Mike and Bernie, proud winners of that some 3 or 4 years ago. Sokolowski's University Inn. When we come back, we'll listen to the voicemails and more Dennis-Manoloff with us. More Sports and Les-Levine continues in a moment exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
I had an epoxy-based sand paint on my floor that deteriorated, and that's why I called Nature Stone.
Why paint? It's expensive, it's ugly, and it doesn't last. Nature Stone is always affordable. It's beautiful, and with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your garage floor again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of November and save up to half off. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
D-Man, you wanted to say something about one of our fine, as Gary D would say, fine subscribers.
Yeah, I just want to say I wish that my wife Denise and I had Northeast Factory Direct. We had gone to Northeast Factory Direct. Instead of this big box store, we got a chair, a recliner, that worked for about 2 months, and then it broke. So we flipped it over to look at why it broke, and it was a cheap piece of alloy strip about 2 inches long that had worn prematurely because it was cheap, and it snapped, and that broke. So we thought, okay, they're going to replace it. No. They don't want to replace it. They want us to take the broken chair that was the faulty product back to them, and then they'll consider replacing it.
Bad move on their part from customer
and
service.
bad move by us to not go to Northeast Factory Direct.
You will next time.
Next time
That's
we're going for a chair, we're going for Northeast Factory Direct because we know we're not going to get cheap crap from them. That's a slogan. How about that?
Northeast
we know we're
Factory
not going to
Direct.
get cheap crap from you.
That was Dennis-Manoloff with that recitation.
Yeah, I'm still upset about it. It happened 6 months ago.
Well, you go to Northeast Factory Direct. If it happens, they'll take care of it, but it's not going to happen. All right, we, of course, have the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Let's hear what one of our voicemailers had to say.
Hi, Les. This is Mark from North Olmsted. Before I get to my comment, I wanted to say, for whatever it's worth, I think your beard is a good look for you. It takes years off your appearance, and I would suggest keeping it.
Great.
On the Myles-Garrett incident and the Rudolph not being suspended, despite most people's view that he kind of started the whole thing by trying to pull off Garrett's helmet, at several points of the bang-bang series of events, a calm, rational choice by either Garrett or Rudolph could have been made to stop the end result. Obviously, the environment wasn't conducive to it. However, ultimately, where Rudolph was most culpable was charging at Garrett from behind the protection of his muscle, his center, where it already was defending him by driving Garrett back on his heels. Garrett's heat-of-the-moment defensive swing wouldn't have occurred or had anyone to connect to if Rudolph wasn't attempting to pile on, so to speak. Ultimately, Garrett is definitely due a very harsh penalty, but this is my case why Rudolph should have gotten at least a game like Ogunjobi for adding to the fray. Thank you very much.
Well, first of all, I'm guilty again starting to discuss something with a tape. I was actually going to respond and get into a conversation.
Those are salient points.
He said the beard takes off 20 years of my age. So, I mean, I look 29?
Dare we use the cliche, you look professorial with a beard.
Rakishly handsome, I believe, is the term that Ellie.
You and Hoynes wear beards very well. Hoynes wears that salt and pepper goatee.
Right. Hoynes is going to be here tomorrow.
Well.
Do you think we should switch seats and I'll be
trying
him,
to fool the viewers? Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that very much. All right. Where are we?
Quickies?
No, not yet.
Okay.
What's that? It's too early for quickies. As far as I'm concerned, it's never too early for quickies.
Wait a minute. That could be a how come quickie. How come it's too late for quickies?
Right. Next
Or is it
Friday,
ever too late for quickies?
The day after Thanksgiving, I'm on solo on 92.3 The Fan. It's going to be 11 to 3. It's going to be 4 hours of quickies.
Wow. And shoppers from everywhere are going to be calling
Black
you.
Sunday quickies only next Friday. All right. What do we want to talk about here? Oh, you know what? Nobody's mentioning the Cavaliers. Should they be?
Not right now. when they were 4 and 5, they were a fun little team.
Can't watch more than 5 minutes at a time.
Now it's ugly, especially when Love is not playing.
Hey, by the way, congrats to the Cavs marketing staff or whoever that put together this Wall of Honor or whatever they're calling it, and brought in Nick Milletti, who refused to come in during the championship run, but his wife passed away in the last couple of months, and he showed up, and he deserves that recognition.
Yes. That was a very well done event by the Cavs.
Have you seen the building inside?
I have not.
I have not either. You and I ought to go over there one day. Maybe, maybe not. All right, let's take a break. We'll come on back. We got some How Come Quickies to get to and more. The voicemail of Truth and Reason. You can call anytime, 216-200-6650. Of course, you can call us during the show from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time. But call us and leave us a message. We'll use them on a future show. Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. Open at noon every day for simulcast racing all over the country, all over the world, actually, at Northfield Park. You've got live racing Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That, of course, comes your way starting at 6 p.m. with the post time. 6:40 is the post time on weekends, Saturday and Sunday. And, of course, you got a chance to win $500 in cash each and every day, each and every Sunday at Northfield Park, where it's free admission, free parking every day. We'll come back. We'll check Mr. Gullible, John Patrick, and more. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty, moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of November and save up to half off. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, there's Hoynes. You think I look like him? A little bit?
A little bit. Like I said, I love the salt and pepper goatee of Hoynes.
Hoynesy, of course, covering the Indians on cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. You see us, well, he'll be here tomorrow. You see us Monday through Friday, 6 to 7. And, of course, replayed throughout the day, all over, all 24 hours throughout the day. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. The D-man Dennis-Manoloff is here. You're picking on Les's weekend winners, right, with Dave Bacon?
Yes.
You're picking 4 winners, you think? Well, you're picking 4 games.
Browns +3, other teams, and I'll scoop myself.
Oh, yeah.
Taking the Browns. Even though it's 10.5, that's the number we're going to have.
They've been
that
10
hook
and a half
is a little dangerous.
They've been 10.5 or more twice since they came back in '99.
Wow. I did not know that.
Now you know.
I'm a little afraid of the hook, but I'm still going with Baker and the boys to put up a lot of points.
All right, so we have now come to the point of the show that we've all been waiting for, or I have been. It's how come quickies. You're gonna vote for them, right?
I'll judge them.
Don't you judge them? Don't give them 10s. That'll stop them from coming back.
Okay.
We want to leave a little bit of wiggle room. Mr. Gullible comes in with a bunch. He knows that we were on tape here. How come I have 500 people under me at my job? I'm a cemetery security guard.
8.
8? Okay, 8. Not bad. How come in a democracy your vote counts, but in feudalism your count votes?
9.
That's funny.
That's good.
That is very funny.
Very good.
How come with or without a beard, Les always looks rakishly handsome?
10.
No, don't give 10s.
All right, 9.
9.
I mean,
but who's counting? John Patrick. I got to tell you something, John. You're right on the verge with this one, right? We had a vote. We had to give a vote to everybody to see if we were going to go with this.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I enjoy doing more sports and less Levine, and don't want to have a quickie, no matter how good it is, usurp. Is that a right word?
Yes.
Usurp my tenure here on More Sports and Less Levine. But I'm gonna go with it this time and this time only. So if you're a power to be, don't listen for the next 10 seconds. How come I responded to my girlfriend's marriage proposal by saying, "You're what?" No, that's just not right. Strike that from the record.
Yeah,
it seemed like a 5-4 vote, and then when I did it, it went 1 and 8.
Yeah.
We got about a minute to kill. What do you got? Well, what are you on radio next? WTAM.
Tomorrow night, 7 to 11 on the TAM and 1100 and also 106.9 FM. We'll talk, of course. We have to keep talking about the Myles aftermath. By then, we should have a result of his appeal.
I would think.
Browns get ready for the Dolphins. Cavaliers will have come off a game tonight. And then the Indians off season. Talk about the Astros cheating scandal. Also,
what can
Hall
they
of Fame
do?
ballot.
What can they? Omar
I have a vote for
who's
the
on?
Hall of Fame.
Omar and who else?
I mean, Jeter's the headliner this year as the first timer. But the question is how much more of a percentage are Bonds, Clemens, and those guys going to get? Because after Jeter on the newcomers, no other newcomer I don't think is going to sniff 75%. So it's Jeter and everybody else, which leaves the holdovers an opportunity, or gives the holdovers an opportunity to gain ground.
Do you think Omar will get, 30%?
He should get more than he got last year. I can't remember what he was in the 30s last year. He could get over 40% this year, perhaps. The fascinating one will be Schilling, because he was knocking on the door. Now, it wasn't that close, but he was close enough. Will he gain traction because he doesn't have a lot of
You're close to him still, right?
Not really. No, I have not spoken to him in a long time.
If you called, he would take your call?
I could get a hold of him now if I needed to, yes.
And he thinks the political thing is what's keeping him back?
Not necessarily.
Because at one time he did.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's his outspoken politics, but also he never got along with the media all that well to begin with.
You think he's got the numbers?
He was affable and he's not affable. He was accessible, but there was friction between him and the media. I think he should be in, and not because I have a bias, a built-in bias. I know the guy a little bit. His numbers speak for themselves, especially in the postseason. I've always said that players should be rewarded for their postseason. If you don't have a postseason, if you didn't get there much in a baseball career, I'm not blaming you for it. But you better believe I'm going to reward a guy who's got a postseason resume. Yeah. And Schilling does. And Derek Jeter is one of the greatest winners, if not the greatest winner I've ever seen.
He'll be unanimous, won't he?
Question is he going to be 100%? Yeah, I mean,
I would guess that he
Rivera was last year. Will Jeter get it this year? If you don't leave Jeter off your ballot, or if you leave him off your ballot, you got some splaining to do because the New York media is going to come after you and go, "What in the world are you thinking?" And rightly so in this case.
I was just going to use the Desi Arnaz thing, and you beat me to it.
Yeah, I mean, Jeter should be 100% to me.
No question about it. All right, that'll do it for us. I'll see you tomorrow night. Paul Hoynes will join us. And D-Man, you'll be back on Monday.
Yeah,
Mark
quick
that down.
turnaround. Yes.
There you go. All right,
turnaround pre-Thanksgiving.
We'll see you tomorrow night. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.